Hiya, and welcome to my 1920s house build. So this is based on the former fire chief's house in Napier, New Zealand. I don't live near there, but I found a listing of it in a historic buildings listing from the Napier Council, and I thought it was a really nice example of an everyday 1920s house. So that's what I wanted to build. Not like a super fancy architect 1920s house. This was architect designed, but not the kind of place where, the super rich and famous are living, but just sort of, middle class person, everyday sort of person. So it looks a bit deco on the outside, and when we get to the inside later, you might be thinking, "Ooh, that's not very deco," but that's because I figured people moving into a new house aren't necessarily buying entirely new furniture. Certainly I wouldn't be. So this is a bunch of older stuff that they might have from a house they had before or family or whatever, into a new 1920s style house. So in the build here, I'm just kind of getting the outside done first. Trying to decide where to put all the windows. You'll notice me saving a lot. That's because I'm very paranoid. I made the outside this blue, which you might think is a bit strong, but the original house is painted on the outside quite a bright shade of blue, with white trim, so I think that's fairly representative. I'm trying to fit 3 bedrooms upstairs, which is quite tricky, making them big enough to fit an actual bed in them. So I spent a little bit of time trying to move the stairs around, move the walls around to fit that 3rd bedroom in. There's no bathroom upstairs. There's a bathroom downstairs. I think that fits well with the 1920s style. Indoor plumbing is relatively new at this point, so having indoor plumbing upstairs is probably a step too far. I'm trying to create a nice bay window with a flat roof here at the front. There's not a lot of good metal roofing textures. Colorbond roofing, like metal roofing, is really popular in Australia and in New Zealand, I think, but the choices in The Sims 4 are all really, really ugly, so that's a bit disappointing. I'm putting in some wallpaper. The wallpaper and the lighting that I'm putting in now is very like the house I grew up in, which is kind of a 1920s, 1930s house. Obviously been renovated since, but kind of that lighting and wall hadn't really been changed a lot. And in some places you could peel off the wallpaper and see the original wallpaper. I spent a long time trying to fit this bath in. I really like this bath. I had to move objects on, so didn't get to play test it. I'm not sure if that actually works, but it should, I think. Trying to find some curtains for a 3-wide window. There are no good 3-wide. There are like no 3-wide curtains in The Sims 4, so I sort of compromised with these single ones. Upstairs, trying to cram in a double bed. There's the one piece of really deco furniture in The Sims 4 is that mirror in the master bedroom. So that's a bit sad. Most of this furniture is much more of a Edwardian taste than a deco taste, but that's okay. And then in these bedrooms, I'm going to make them themed a bit. We're going to have a yellow bedroom and a sort of blue-green bedroom. Yeah, I think that's very cool. Now I'm doing the kitchen. The kitchen, I wanted to make it sort of that more rustic style, maybe even a bit more like a Victorian style than necessarily a modern style. So there's not a lot of built-in cabinets and stuff. I mean, there is over the stove, but not like we would have built-in kitchen benches and stuff. It's not all matchy. It's just bits and pieces. And then in the parlour or the living room, obviously there's not going to be a TV at this point, but I do manage to fit that little gramophone in, which I think is pretty cute. I wanted to put lots of lighting in. I feel like these rooms are often really dark, but with lots of lights around. There's a chess table in the corner. Not sure if that's actually playable, but it looks cool. And now I'm trying to fit a pot plant in on this table, and it just did not want to go. And there's a massive blank wall, so I'm trying to find some pictures that'll go in there. Lots of these are obviously way too modern for the 1920s in The Sims 4, so yeah, just cramming in some of the older style ones, putting in some bits and bobs in the kitchen and in the study, piles of books, putting in a coat rack, and then I realised I can remove the wall under the stairs. Yeah. Yeah, just putting in some clutter all around to make the place feel a bit lived in. If you wanted to download this from the gallery and it was too expensive for your Sims, you can, of course, just go in and delete a whole bunch of that stuff. That would make it a lot cheaper. Now I'm going to do the garden, and I've realised at this point that this house is on a lot that is way too big for it. However, I'm going to try and fill it out a bit with some garden. I'm trying to decide just how big I want this garden to be. And I think at this point I decide actually I'd rather it be moved over. I'm trying to move it over, but the front porch bit doesn't want to move, so got to rebuild that. Blech. Yeah, and then just moving the garden around to fit in the smaller size. And then putting in some painting to the front door. Isn't that nice? Yep. And here's the inside, downstairs, and upstairs. And then from the front, I think with the front screenshot, you can really see the kind of deco look. You might see houses like this around. So thanks. Bye.